श्री महाभारत कथा। श्री महाभारत कथा। महाभारत कथा। कथा है पुरुषार्थ की, ये स्वार्थ की, परमार्थ की, सारथी जिसके बने श्री कृष्ण भारत पाथ की। शब्द दिग्घोषित हुआ जब सत्य सार्थक सर्वथा। शब्द दिग्घोषित हुआ। यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत, अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य, तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्, परित्राणाय साधूनां, विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां, धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे।
And having crossed this herbless plain, the king came upon another forest, full of the retreats of ascetics, beautiful to look at, delightful to the heart, and of cool, agreeable breezes. And it was full of trees covered with blossoms, the soil overgrown with the softest and greenest grass, extending for many miles around, and echoing with the sweet notes of winged warblers. And there was no tree without fruits, none that had prickles on it, none that had no bees swarming around it. And the whole forest resounded with the melody of winged choristers. And it was decked with the flowers of every season, and trees with branches beautified with clusters began to wave gently at the soft breeze and rain their flowers over the monarch's head. And the forest was exceedingly beautiful in consequence of those trees ranged around with flowery branches twining with each other, and looking like so many rainbows for gaudiness and variety of color. And in that forest, which was the resort of ever cheerful birds, the monarch saw a delightful and charming retreat of ascetics. And it was the resort of bands of Siddhas, of the Karanas, of tribes of Gandhavas and Apsaras, of monkeys and Kinnaras drunk with delight. And the king saw that charming forest gifted with such beauties, and the sacred fire was burning within it. And the king worshipped that unrivaled retreat. And by it flowed, O king, the sacred and transparent Malini with every species of waterfowl playing on its bosom. And there stood also the habitations of Kinnaras, and monkeys and bears too disported themselves in numbers. And there lived also holy ascetics engaged in studies and meditation. And there could be seen also elephants and tigers and snakes. And it was on the banks of that stream that the excellent asylum of the illustrious Kasyapa stood, offering a home to numerous rishis of great ascetic merit. And beholding that river, and also the asylum washed by that river, which was studded with many islands, and which possessed banks of so much beauty, an asylum like unto that of Nara and Narayana, laved by the water of the Ganga, the king resolved to enter into that sacred abode. And that bull among men, desirous of beholding the great rishi of ascetic wealth, the illustrious Kanwa of the race of Kasyapa, one who possessed every virtue, and who, for his splendor, could be gazed at with difficulty, approached that forest, resounding with the notes of maddened peacocks and like unto the gardens of the great Gandharva, Chitraratha himself, and halting his army consisting of flags, cavalry, infantry, and elephants at the entrance of the forest, the monarch spoke as follows: I shall go to behold the mighty ascetic of Kasyapa's race, one who is without darkness. Stay ye here until my return. And the king, having entered that forest which was like unto Indra's garden, soon forgot his hunger and thirst, and he was pleased beyond measure. And the monarch, laying aside all signs of royalty, entered that excellent asylum with but his minister and his priest, desirous of beholding that rishi who was an indestructible mass of ascetic merit. Here were bees sweetly humming, and there were winged warblers of various species pouring forth their melodies. At particular places that tiger among men heard the chanting of Rik hymns by first-rate Brahmanas according to the just rules of intonation. In fact, that sacred retreat resounding with these holy notes was like unto a second region of Brahman himself. There were those also who were fully acquainted with the meanings of all kinds of expressions, those that were conversant with all special rites, those also that were followers of moksha dharma. And the king, as he proceeded, heard their voices. And the retreat resounded also with voice of men capable of charming human hearts. And the slayer of hostile heroes also saw around him learned Brahmanas of rigid vows engaged in japa, the repeated muttering of the names of gods, and homa, burnt offering. And the king wondered much on beholding the beautiful carpets which those Brahmanas offered to him respectfully. And the slayer of heroes at last, accompanied by his minister and his priest, entered that charming and sacred retreat of Kasyapa, inhabited all around by rishis of ascetic wealth and exalted vows. And entering quite alone, he saw not the rishi Kanwa of rigid vows. And not seeing the rishi and finding that the abode was empty, he called loudly, saying, "What ho! Who is here?" And the sound of his voice was echoed back. And hearing the sound of his voice, there came out of the rishi's abode a maiden beautiful as Shri herself, but dressed as an ascetic's daughter. And the black-eyed fair one, as she saw King Dushmanta, bade him welcome, and received him duly. And showing him due respect by the offer of a seat, water to wash his feet, and arghya, she inquired about the monarch's health and peace. The king, duly worshipped by her, said unto that maiden of faultless features and sweet speech, "I have come to worship the highly blessed Rishi Kanwa. Tell me, O amiable and beautiful one, where has the illustrious Rishi gone?" Sakuntala then answered, "My illustrious father hath gone away from the asylum to fetch fruit." "Neom, dear, wait but a moment, and thou wilt see him when he arrives." "Nanda, do." And he saw that she was of sweet smiles, and she stood decked with the beauty of her faultless features, her ascetic penances, and her humility. And thus addressed by the monarch, the maiden smilingly replied in these sweet words, "O Dushmanta, I am the daughter of the virtuous wise, high-souled, and illustrious ascetic Kanwa. No. Dun she, wouldn't so is say." Dushmanta, hearing this, replied, "The universally worshipped and highly blessed Rishi is one whose seed hath been drawn up. Neem, Panadathome. Even Dharma himself might fall off from his course, but an ascetic of rigid vows can never fall off so. Therefore, O thou of the fairest complexion, how hast thou been born as his daughter? This great doubt of mine it behoveth thee to dispel. Once on a time, a rishi came here and asked about my birth. All that the illustrious one, Kanwa, told him. Hear now from me, O king. Viswamitra, of old, having been engaged in the austerest penances, alarmed Indra, the chief of the celestials, who thought that the mighty ascetic of blazing energy would, by his penances, hurl him down from his high seat in heaven. Indra, thus alarmed, summoned Menaka, and told her, "Thou, O Menaka, art the first of celestial apsaras. Therefore, O amiable one, do me this service. Hear what I say. This great ascetic Viswamitra, like unto the sun in splendor, is engaged in the fee, most severe of penances. My heart is trembling with fear. Indeed, O slender-waisted Menaka, this is thy business. Thou must see that Viswamitra of soul wrapped in contemplation and engaged in the austerest penances, who might hurl me down from my seat. Go and tempt him, and frustrating his continued austerities accomplish my good. Win him away from his penances, O beautiful one, by tempting him with thy beauty, youth, agreeableness, arts, smiles, and speech. Nay. Nay, sir. Why? Hearing all this, Menaka replied, the illustrious Viswamitra is endued with great energy, and is a mighty ascetic. He is very short-tempered too, as is known to thee. The energy, penances, and wrath of the high-souled one have made even thee anxious. Why should I not also be anxious? He it was who made even the illustrious Vasishta bear the pangs of witnessing the premature death of his children. He it was who, though at first born as Kshatriya, subsequently became a Brahmana by virtue of his ascetic penances. I am frightened to approach him of such deeds. Tell me, O Indra, the means that should be adopted so that I may not be burnt by his wrath. He can burn the three worlds by his splendor, can, by a stamp of his foot, cause the earth to quake. Tell me, O Indra, the means that should be adopted so that I may not be burnt by his wrath. How can a woman like me even touch such a one full of ascetic virtues, like unto a blazing fire, and having his passions under complete control? His mouth is like unto a blazing fire. The pupils of his eyes are like the sun and the moon. His tongue is like unto Yama himself. Commanded, however, by thee, O King of the Celestials, I shall somehow approach that Rishi. But, O Chief of the Gods, devise thou some plan whereby, protected by thee, I may safely move about that Rishi. I think that when I begin to play before the Rishi, Marut, the god of wind, had better go there and rob me of my dress, and Manmatha, the god of love, had also, at thy command, better help me then. And the timid and beautiful Menaka then entered the retreat, and saw there Viswamitra, who had burnt, by his penances, all his sins, and was engaged still in ascetic penances. And saluting the Rishi, she then began to sport before him. And just at that time, Marut robbed her of her garments that were white as the moon. And she thereupon ran, as if in great bashfulness, to catch hold of her attire, and as if she was exceedingly annoyed with Marut.